Game week 5 and the 8-point hit seems to have paid off, and going into game week 6 there could be another hit, but for now let's have a look at the current lineup with Martinez in goal, fresh off his 9-pointer. He is playing against Leeds. We've got Trent and Robbo still at the back against Sheffield United, and Lamperty makes his debut for the side as Brighton face West Bromwich Albion. Going into the midfield, we still have the Spurs duo of Gareth Bale and current captain Son. Away to Burnley, we've got Jack Grealish against Leeds and Harvey Barnes against Arsenal, and up front we've still got Chris Wood of Burnley against Spurs, Werner against Manchester United, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin will play against Southampton. So game week 5 was a pretty good one for everyone, really. The game week average was 60. I got 65 points. It was actually 73, but I did take that -8, which has worked out quite well, and we get those players going forward. But I do want to point out that a lot of people will have a lot of scores, high scores, because, to be honest, all the top players and all the popular players got something. So I did make a list. So Kane, Son, Sterling, Rashford, Bruno, Salah, Mane, DCL, James Rodriguez, Robbo, Luka Dean, Timo Werner, Danny Ings, Raul Jimenez. All of these players got returned. They are usually the most popular, expensive, sought-after players in FPL, and they all did return. So I'm not going to get too carried away. Of course, 65 points is above the average, 73 points, of course, but with -8. But it was, of course, a good game week, and I'm sure a lot of you guys had good game weeks as well. But it's never always going to be this good. It seems like the average at the minute, it's like no one scores or everyone scores. We're waiting for that nice fine balance. So what I said earlier about that team selection is, yeah, I took a -8 last week, and it's looking like it's going to be a -4 this week. I said I want to play aggressively, I want to have some fun with it, and that's, to be honest, exactly what I'm going to do. Even though I've played my wild card, it does feel as though the start of the season's first sort of 20%, 15-20% of the season for me, I'm more aggressive with my hits until I get that team that I like, and then I can kind of calm down a little bit, and I think I might just be about one more hit away from that. But I will go on to my possible team transfers into the next part. Let's just have a quick review of Game Week 5. So, of course, in goal again, the man himself, Martinez. He came in on the wild card, and he is still doing an absolute job there. Clean sheet, save points, bonus points, the perfect package in between the sticks. As we go to the defense, unfortunately, Reece James came on for a couple of minutes. Thanks for that. You don't often see a right back come on towards the end of the game. It's usually a striker or a centre back, but sure, why not Frank? Bring on a 1-pointer to block my Taylor 5-point clean sheet for Burnley. That was I will admit that is one. I know I'm about 3.6 million ranks. I've gone up about 500k. But that was a mistake that I'll happily admit. I thought he was going to be back in the side. He wasn't. I should have just gone for Taylor against West Brom. That was a mistake. I'll happily admit that. Trent Alexander-Arnold and Robbo, the boys are still there at the back. I'm still not that interested in moving them yet, because if you have a look, I've got 3.1 million in the bank. This is why I've got some ideas of the different kinds of moves I'm going to make, and I'll probably make those transfers on Friday during the stream, which will be a deadline day stream because there's a Friday night football this week. So remember, guys, the transfer deadline will be earlier. But you can see I've got 3.1 million in the bank, so there's no point in me sitting there with 5 or 6 million in the bank, especially because the next game is against Sheffield United, who are not particularly scoring a lot of goals. Robbo, again, you can see getting in amongst the points. The turnaround between the two and the fact that he's cheaper really, you can see why so many people are going from Trent to Robbo, or if they're on a wild card, getting rid of Trent and keeping Robbo because he's basically a left winger. Harvey Barnes, 2 points. He is on the chopping block. He is one that I'm genuinely considering being the removal. Jack Relish is 3 points. So I'll tell you guys, if you already didn't know, I do watch all the games. I'm fortunate to live in a country where all the games are on TV for a very, very reasonable package that I don't even pay something like £30 for the entire year. And I can watch pretty much every single Premier League package, every single Premier League match. And Jack Grealish, a lot of you will not have paid the £15, of course, who have watched Leicester against Aston Villa, but he was running the show. Maybe his stats didn't particularly prove it. I think they might show him quite as a good player, as a good option. But honestly, guys, for the eye test, he was absolutely phenomenal. Some of the moves he was making and the passes, and really good start to the season. And definitely glad that I brought him in on the hit. Speaking of bringing in one of my players in for a hit, captain Heung-min Son. Harry Kane and Heung-min Son, that double team right now looks almost unstoppable. What a game, of course. 3-3 ended. I was so close to tweeting out, knowing this Premier League season, West Ham's going to come out of nowhere and draw it. I should have hit it. That could have been an absolute banging tweet. But what is banging is Heung-min Son and goals. And they don't look like drying up at the minute. They've still got a great run of fixtures for about another 3 or 4 game weeks. So again, he's not going anywhere, and he could have the captain's armband, I think, going into this game week too. And Gareth Bale. Now, a lot of people were laughing because he missed a pretty good opportunity. But just rewind the tape a little bit, guys, because he made that out of nothing. He took on like 2 or 3 players. He did a lovely drop of the shoulder and a bit of skill to get into that opposition. Should he have finished it? Yes. He's not played competitively since, I think, June. And even before then, he wasn't playing a lot for Real Madrid. So he's going to need some time. He's going to need a bit of, match practice, match fitness. But if you just have a look at that chance again and watch him create that opportunity, he actually was a wonderful bit of skill. And again, no regrets. He could be out this game week, but I really, really don't want to do it. And I'll explain all my decisions in this video as well as on Friday. Up front, the postman DCL delivers yet again. I'm pretty sure he hasn't blanked yet this season. And I've had him all season, going nowhere. Love him. Timo Werner. Now, I'm not going to sit here, guys, and pretend that I'm still thrilled with him. Of course, it's been quite a frustrating season, but patience has paid off a little bit there. 16 points for the German. Is this the time he kicks on now? He's 9.3 million. He could even get a price rise, almost back to his original price. Wouldn't that be nice? And then Chris Wood. That Burnley side has just looked so poor. They're so undermanned, not a lot of creativity there. I do think Burnley, just like Sheffield United, are going to struggle this season. So that's a wrap up of the points. Let's go forward to the team selection and talk about some of the transfer ideas that I've got going into game week 6. So this is a team that's currently lined up for game week 6. It's not too bad. I did mention earlier in the video that I could be looking at another hit and a -4 this time. I'm fine with playing aggressive. I want to get the team I want, and then I can sort of settle down and just be happy with my FPL side. I'm just having a little bit of fun. I mean, you can tell I am because I've got Gareth Bale sat in there. So first, let's just talk about some of the ideas that won't require a hit. You can see I've got 3.1 million in the bank, so I've got a lot to play with. The first simple move that people might be crying out to make is just take out Gareth Bale and put in Mohamed Salah and captain him for the next 2 weeks. That is the easiest move that you could possibly make, right? Another easy move that you could make, I could take out Timo Werner and put in Harry Kane, have that Spurs triple up. That's something a little bit different as well, because Harry Kane and Heung-min Son are the 2 biggest players in FPL right now. Let me just roll back for the Mohamed Salah reason. So yes, I still haven't had him. Yes, I still think he's a wonderful player. Would I captain him for the next 2? Possibly, yes. That is also correct. However, the problem with Mohamed Salah is he's almost 3 million more expensive than Gareth Bale. That would take out all the money that I've got in the bank that I want to use to improve other parts of the team. So if I go from Gareth Bale to Mohamed Salah, I can't really improve Barnes. I can't really improve Wood. I can't really change Timo Werner again that much in the future. I can't improve Lamptey if I wanted to go a little bit bigger at the back. And so for me, it's the same reason of why I've not had Mo Salah all season. It's because I want to spread that money around, and I want to have a look and have 11 players on the pitch and think these 11 players, all of these 11 players could get me something. I do have some ideas of some free transfers that I could have. So with 3.1 million in the bank, I could do a very simple 1 free transfer, Harvey Barnes to James Rodriguez. I think that would be a very good midfield. Everton still have some fantastic fixtures for a while. So that could be 1 free transfer I could make. I could go Timo Werner, a direct transfer to either Sergio Aguero, or I could go to Harry Kane and just have 1 free transfer there. But I don't mind keeping all the Timo Werner because he also has some good fixtures over the next few. The ones that I'm really looking at that I don't like in my side right now are Harvey Barnes and Chris Wood. I know there's an elephant in the room, and that's the Liverpool defence, and I will come back to that later. So the hits that I'm thinking of taking. 1 would make only 1 change to my starting 11 but save the money. So I do have Reece James, 5 million on my bench. If I go to a 4 million player like Kilman at Wolves, yes, he's played a bit of football. Yes, he just got man of the match. But he would probably still sit on my bench as cover. But that's an extra million I get from James, and that then gives me enough money to go from Chris Wood to Sergio Aguero, which is a huge jump. The reason why I'm against that hit is because, one, it keeps me with Harvey Barnes, who they've got Arsenal next, and I don't really fancy Leicester's fixtures and their current form. And two, it's taking a -4, but one of those players I'm taking a hit for is a bench player, and I don't like that. I don't know, it just feels taking a hit for a bench player doesn't seem to make sense. So what I am thinking of doing is Harvey Barnes would go to either McGinn or Barkley at Aston Villa, and then Wood would go to Aguero. So that means I'm taking a -4 hit, but I'm bringing in 2 first-team players. Now, if you'd have told me pre-season you will be triple Aston Villa, I'd have laughed at you. I'd have called you crazy, right? But this is a crazy season, and crazy problems require crazy solutions. Now, when I say triple up, let's be honest, Martinez, he's the best goalkeeping choice, I think, in that sub-5, or even maybe even 5.5 million and below. I think Martinez is a fantastic option. I originally brought him in because I thought he'd get lots of saves and maybe an odd clean sheet because Villa weren't the best at the back. Now I'm relying on clean sheets, which is fantastic. Jack Grealish is the talisman of the side. I've watched all the Premier League games. I'm very fortunate that I don't have to deal with things like the pay-per-view issue. So I've watched all the matches. I watched him against Leicester as well, and he was genuinely fantastic, guys. If I was watching it and I was scared for people who don't own Jack Grealish, I think he genuinely looked absolutely fantastic. So then I think with the fact that Villa they've got Manchester United and they've got Wolves, they're really the two only sort of proper difficult fixtures I've got all the way until almost the new year, around Christmas time. So if I'm going to take a -4 now, so bringing a player that hopefully if this, don't suddenly dive bomb in terms of form or there's an injury, then I'll keep him in for a long time because Barkley's 5.9, McGinn's 5.5. Why not triple up on a team that since post restart, they've actually looked pretty good? More solid at the back. The team doesn't have to entirely go through Grealish. And I know the problem that when I say Barkley, people say, well, every year there's always a bit of a bandwagon or a bit of hype surrounding Barkley. But it's usually limited because of his minutes. When Barkley was at Everton, he was a great player. And he did well in FPL as well. He went to Chelsea, and when he gets some kind of form going, an injury might have stopped him, or he just had his minutes taken away because Chelsea also have a very large squad. But at Villa, he's going to be a key man. He's basically playing like a second striker to Watkins. And I said this season that I'm trying to focus on stats. Yeah, there's some heartfelt transfers and some emotional ones. Like, look at me, I've got Gareth Bale, right? But when it comes to like prejudice, Son, last season, he was injured when I got him. He was red carded when I captained him. He blanked in the final game week to stop me getting a 100k finish. And I said, right, Son, clean slate, because you can't play FPL with these kind of prejudice against players that, oh, he did this 2 seasons ago. Look at Danny Ings last year. Oh, he's injury prone, I'm not bringing him in. Well, there you go, you missed out on all of his points. So when I'm looking at it, I think if I have Barkley on my side, and that allows me to get Aguero as well in for Wood, I think that is a great move. That also gives me a little bit extra that in the future, then I can go James down to a 4.5 or 4 million defender, still have money in the bank to tweak things around. Maybe I can get Werner up to Kane in the future if Bale makes way and goes, I could go Bale to James Rodriguez and then Werner to Harry Kane. If I want to jiggle that around in the future, I can. But if I do the Mo Salah transfer, I don't have that little bit of money in the bank to play with. Coming to the second elephant in the room, of course, I've got the double Liverpool defence. A lot of people are going to be saying, why? That'll be the first question. And now, of course, the Van Dijk injury, that's the guy that they target for on corners and set pieces. And yeah, when I say on one side of the coin, you can't be against the likes of Ross Barkley because of previous injuries and getting dropped or whatever. On the other side, yeah, that's a problem I'm going to have to overcome. I need to be able to accept that I can get rid of Trent. Robbo is still looking fantastic. All last season, and then after the lockdown, he has looked absolutely phenomenal. His heat map has him basically as a left wing back. He's blanked, I think, only, was it once or twice this season? That's it. He's looking fantastic. Trent isn't, and he hasn't since post-lockdown. I'm not going to rush to get him out because they've got Sheffield United and West Ham in the next 2 at home. So I do think he could get some returns in that. But in the future, I get $1 million back from James, and I can get about $2 million back. So that gives me another $3 million in the bank to start to play around again. And if I do that Bale to Salah transfer, I just don't have that kind of flexibility. I'm sat here with 3.1 million in the bank. I've got lots of options, and I like that. And I want to be able to look at my starting 11 and think, yes, I understand I can't have them all. I can't have Sterling, Kevin De Bruyne, Salah and Mane all in my team. That's perfectly fine. I will have one of them in the future, probably for Gareth Bale, when Spurs' fixtures change in about 3 game weeks, but that's just the way it is. And that's the way I want to play. I did do my piece on big hitting differentials. Check out the previous stream on that, but long story short, the likes of Sterling at 6.2%, Mane was at 6.2%, Gareth Bale was at 0.5%, Sergio Aguero was about 1.6%. The idea that I've had that I want to have it go with, I want to have some fun, right? And I want to try and do it the right way, was to get big hitting differentials. Ones where they are world-class players, very famous players, everyone knows them, and you think that you're almost being an idiot by saying, well, yeah, Gareth Bale's a good player. Why don't you try Sergio Aguero? Do you know Sadio Mane? How about Raheem Sterling? Like, you feel stupid saying it, but then when you look at their ownership percentages, people don't own them. So I want to try and do it that way and see how it goes. Of course, I'll have some high-owned players as well. I mean, Dominic Calvert-Lewin now I think is over 50%. When I had him, I think he was like 7% at the start of the season. I'm not going to sell players because they get popular, but I'm equally going to... I'm just going to take some more risks this season, have a little bit more fun, because I'm up. I'm up 500,000 places. The climb starts now, and I want to just sort of try it my own way. So that's going to be it for today's video, guys. Let me know in the comments below what you think about my team and my transfer plans. How are your transfers looking for this game week? Who do you think we should be bringing into our teams? Who do you think is on your chopping block? And who should we be selling as quickly as possible? Thank you for watching, guys. Hopefully I'll see you at the stream on Friday lunchtime, starting from 12 o'clock UK time. If you want to have a look at from that stream where I was talking about all the big hitting differentials and the chat that we had, that will be above there. If you want to leave a like, that is below, and subscribe by clicking just over here. Hope to see you on Friday, guys, and as always, have a good one.